So today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and a product review on the LSX-RT manifold. I got this one specifically for the truck. We'll also unbox the throttle body that goes with it. And we may or may not talk about these performance heads that I picked up from Wilkes Performance. Now, originally, my plan was to go with the Trailblazer SS intake, because I'm all about budget modifications, but I try and keep track on Facebook and deals or what have you. And I was able to pick up this intake brand new in the box that a gentleman bought from Summit, and throttle body. So this is a $600-700 throttle body, $1,200 intake. I had to drive to Albany, Georgia, which is about a 5-hour trip from me, but he said if I'd come get it, it was $800. He sat it on top of the motor just to see what it looked like, but it's never been ran. So let's see what's in here. Full disclosure, I have already been inside. So here she is in all her glory. And let me tell you, this thing's a mammoth. I will do a side-by-side here in a little bit, so you can see what it looks like next to a stock intake. You have all of your vacuum ports. You got some on top, you've got some on bottom. I believe that one's for your brake booster. This thing is kind of the creme de la creme for intakes. You have a lot of options with this thing. What I liked about it the most, why I really wanted it, even though it wasn't within my budget, I really wanted this thing because I've had issues in the past with nitrous. Thing already has built-in nitrous bungs. All you got to do is pop them in there. So I've had issues in the past, intakes popping the lid, what have you. This thing here is completely rebuildable. Top shell, bottom shell, these the fuel rail section, all the individual ports and runners, you can take them apart, order a new part, pop it together. You can disassemble this thing. You can take the runners out. You can port them if you want. Me, I want to keep my low end torque, so I'm not planning on doing any kind of porting. And the value this thing gives you as far as horsepower and torque, it's pretty amazing over stock. Now, originally, like I said, I was going to go with the TBSS intake, and I decided, this was the deal for me. The TBSS intake, Richard Holdner, I'm sure you guys know him by now. Richard Holdner did a test on the TBSS over stock, and it gained about 15 horsepower over stock and about 15 torque over stock. The TBSS did. So then he did another test of the fast over the TBSS, and it was pretty impressive. About 10 more torque and another 30 horsepower. So now this was on a modified engine, camshaft, decent heads. So if you're throwing this on a factory motor, which I don't know why you'd put the money into a factory motor, really, with the kind of amount of money you're going to spend on this thing. I mean, this thing's $1,200 easy. The throttle body's going to be $600. So the gains are pretty impressive, especially if it's on a modified motor. I've already got a camshaft in mind. Of course, I just showed you the Wilkes heads. They are CNC ported. The valves have been worked. Bigger exhaust valves. I mean, it's a good 40-50 horsepower bolt-on over a stock head. Now, one thing about on the research that I've done, you will have to either modify or buy fuel rails for this thing. Your factory injectors should work. Now, you may have to shim them up or down, just depending on exactly what vehicle you're putting it in. But I think what I'm going to do, budget-wise, I'm going to get the modify kit. It's about $75-80 from Summit, and I will modify my factory fuel rails just to see how easy it is, how complicated it is. I'll do a video on that too, so everybody can see. But I also am going to a little later on down the line. I am boosting this truck, so the turbo kit that I'm going to be using comes with bigger injectors, fuel pump, and all that anyway. So I'm going to have to upgrade the rails, I'm sure, just to be, just to make sure I don't have any kind of flow issues. And let's check out this throttle body. Now, this is a Summit part, and they recommend this one for the 2004. It is the drive-by-wire. Pretty simple. Not much to it, but this thing is massive. I mean, look at that beast. I mean, I'm not a small guy. That is a monster throttle body. It says it's a 103, 102. Who can tell you the difference, really? Also, with this intake comes all your goodies. Instructions. You got different caps. You got different bungs. Now, it also comes with the O-rings. You have to put these O-rings on the bottom side of your injectors so they'll snap down in place. And of course, you know, you typically, just the way you always do your O-rings, you know, oil them up a little bit, pop them in there. But this thing is impressive, guys. If you've got the money to throw at it, this is all your different mounting hardware. And like I said, this thing's completely rebuildable. You can take it apart, do what you got to do. Another thing that I liked over this, I was originally looking at some of the, you know, the fabricated aluminum intakes. You know, they're about $400 or $500, give or take. But I know in the past I've had issues with heat soak on aluminum, and this composite that they use eliminates a lot of the heat soak. Now, also, the RPM range that I'm looking for is, you know, it's street car. So I'm not interested in running 7, 8, 9,000 RPMs in it, which the sheet metal intakes are well, you know, capable of getting into the 7,500 range. And this one probably is too, depending on your camshaft and springs. But it's rated around 2,500 to 6,500, and that's where I plan on staying as it is. Anywho, thanks for watching.